Subconscious mind mastery, 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 mastery.
Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. Thomas Miller along with Michele Blood, and we are going to talk about the heart of the matter, the subconscious mind. Something that came to me now when I started this in 2013. I had no idea, Michele, what I was going to talk about. In fact, the second episode of this podcast was how to get rid of the hiccups using cat-cow yoga technique. All I had was just start a podcast, and I couldn't get away from start a podcast. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Well, it ended up, as I thought about all the changes I had made over the prior 5 years, the one thing I could point back to was that there was a way of being before and a way of being after, and what changed was that internal program that was driving all of it, because I realized how much of my prior story unfolded without me doing anything. And I thought, well, that's scary. So what is this? And that's when I found out about the subconscious mind, and here we are. You worked with a guy who used the word paradigm, but basically kind of coming from the same perspective, and you changed your program, your paradigm, after your accident that we outlined in the previous episode. So how do you factor in the subconscious mind today, because we're down the line from that experience for you? And I'd love to hear some stories about working with Bob and how he used the subconscious mind and the reprogramming that he taught.
Oh, wow.
See you in an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going for coffee.
The two people that I loved to work with the most was Stuart Wilde. Do you know Stuart Wilde?
No.
Oh, you don't? Wow.
No. Didn't know him.
He's a Cockney guy from London, and he was living in Australia for a while, and I worked with him, and he sold millions and millions of books. Most irreverent guy you've ever met, and brilliant. Wow. Talking about he really got to I loved working with him. Number one, because he was so irreverent. Number two, because he was so authentic. And I'll give a quick story about him first, and then we can talk about Bob and the subconscious mind and how Bob lives and walked his talk. I highly recommend someone getting Stuart left the body a few years ago, but he was. The first event I did with him was in Adelaide. It was 3,000 people. Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer were on the thing as well. And I had actually heard of Stuart Wilde because he was well known in Australia. And I decided to, because he was the only one I'd heard of, hadn't heard of Deepak or Wayne Dyer, I decided to get a couple of his books, and they were incredible and funny and irreverent. And because I'd had my car accident by then, and the affirmation songs were going out to the world, and I was still living in Australia, hadn't met Bob Proctor yet. This guy gets up on stage with long hair, and he's got a podium there, and I could see, because I'm on the side of the stage, because I just sung before him. I was singing in between these speakers. He had his microphone, and looked like he was hitting his head against the podium, putting the microphone was making the noise, no, not his head. F, 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 F. And everybody was like, and then he got like this, and he went, F you, everybody. And about 20 people out of 3,000 stood up and went, oh, and walked out. And then he said, oh, great. Now we can talk about spirituality and love and God, now that all the naysayers and judgmental bastards have left the building.
Wow. Goodness sakes.
I'm like, oh,
wow.
my God.
Oh, wow. That's powerful.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was into just deep meditations and practices. And so he was the first one who actually started teaching me deeper meditation
That's
practices.
Incredible.
Yeah, so when I kept in contact with him forever until he died, basically. Well, I don't say died, we never die. But the way I met Bob Proctor was at an event in Adelaide. Again, promoters had wanted me. They heard about my healing, to do the affirmation songs. And Bob did not want me to work with him at all, Thomas. He was like adamant. And the promoter said, no, we've seen what she does. She's been a singer in Australia for many years. She brings in a different audience and it's very entertaining. And he said, I'm Bob Proctor. I don't need an entertainer. It was like almost sacrilegious, right? And so by the second half, I'd sung my Magnet to Money song and I Am Energy song. And Bob came back to the back green room with his wife, Linda, lovely lady, and said, I did not want to work with you. I don't want a singer here. And I went, good on you, mate. Good to meet you too, Bob. And I'm laughing. And then he starts laughing because I've never really cared what other people think of me. And because the audience, I had them up on stage, I had the lyrics, short lyrics, not long lyrics for the affirmation songs. They're all up dancing with me. And he said, but I love it. I love it. I was just kidding. I've never seen an audience like that. I didn't know. No one's done affirmations with music before. It goes straight into your subconscious mind. Did you know that? And I went, well, duh. I do know that. And he said, I want to work with you all over the world. I don't want to do another event without you doing this because it's teaching what I'm teaching about the subconscious mind and blah, blah, blah. So I gave my band 6 months notice because I just had such a great connection with him. And he's so energetic. And I thought he was so old at the time. And he was like 55, and that's like 11 years younger than I am now.
Whoops. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, we're there.
Yeah. I thought he was so old. But I thought, God, he's energetic for an old bloke.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said, look, I've got to give my band at least 6 months notice or the wives will kill me. Oh, you've got a band. I said, you know nothing about me, do you? He said, no. And I said, well, that takes two. That's two of us. I've never heard of you before. They offered me this gig either. Anyway, so then the first gig where he first flew me was to Las Vegas to do a big event there with him. And it was just incredible. And we got along like a house on fire. And he said, look, I'm doing another event at the World Trade Center. I want you to learn Malaysian songs and do them. And, you know, maybe turn some of your songs into Bahasa Malaysian language. And that's on next week. I'm like, what? But I've never stood back from a challenge. And so we're flying there, first class, Malaysia Airlines, and him and his wife and a couple of other people that were going to speak there. And I fell in love with Kuala Lumpur. And I said to Bob after the event, 3-day event, I said, I'm going to live here. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to start an office here and you can run it. And I'm like, well, no, I'm a singer. He said, yeah, but you ran a band, so you can do it. So I got a Malaysian business partner. I got an office. So the thing about Bob and myself is when we do things, we're continuously, the thing I loved about him, it was almost like being with another band member who's a songwriter. You're continuously creating new things. There's no thought of what will we create next. It's just we'd be creating. He said, oh, I'm going to do this next thing. I'm going to do an action song. I'm going to do a talk on action, and I want you to write me an action song. This is the second night I was in Malaysia. We're still doing the World Trade Center. And he said, I want you to have it for me in 24 hours. Like, we'll record it the day after. Find me a recording studio. I'm in a Muslim country. I don't speak the language. Luckily, a lot of people in Malaysia do speak English. Anyway, so I found this record producer who had a little studio. He had a little keyboard. So I just started writing this song, had no idea what his talk about action was. So I wrote this song, gonna start a real gold mine. Gonna start a real gold mine with action. I know it happens. And I made these sound effects like boom, boom. And then we went into the studio. He couldn't believe it. He gave me his talk because he had it typed up. Going to start a real gold mine with action. That's how it happens. And he just went, we're meant to work together. That's it. So
Wow.
then he wrote the lyrics to Synergy and he said, okay, write a melody and do the music and produce it. And when I come back in a month, we'll do a talk on Synergy. So we were just like nonstop. Plus I had a band going in Asia and I was touring with them. And we just worked nonstop, creating new events, new audio programs. And then we had enough products that we'd put together on different topics, success, persistence. He said, let's make it into a cassette box. And I said, what will we call it? And he said, we'll call it New Paradigms. So we called it New Paradigms. And the reason we called it New Paradigms, because he saw a book at the airport the week before, which said paradigms. It was just called Paradigms. And he went, oh my God, that's such a great word. That's what it all means. So we're working in Singapore. We're showing every people that we're going to be speaking with us, pretty well-known authors. And they said, you can't call it New Paradigms. People won't know in the hell what it's about. And Bob said, after Michele and I are finished, everyone will be calling it a paradigm.
Wow. So that's
So
how it got started.
that's how it got started. That's how
Oh
it got
my
started.
goodness.
So he started writing lyrics and everything with me with the songs. I'd get them recorded and produced and done beautifully, and then I'd produce all his speaking parts. And it was just an incredible experience to work with someone who's like, I didn't have to do what I had to do occasionally with band members, like show up at 4 o'clock, and the rehearsal was actually at 5 o'clock to make sure they'd get there in time. I didn't have to immediately make everyone enthusiastic, and it was like living a dream, not to have to build a band up and get them enthusiastic and make them feel joy before they get up on that stage. It was like we just fed off each other with new ideas and programs and songs 24/7. We wrote this song called Motivation for the Nation. Vision 2020 was what the Prime Minister at the time was about. And it was always talking about the subconscious mind and how powerful that is. And he would have a little stick figure, which a lot of people know about now.
Yeah.
And we'd be continuously speaking about the songs and how that works and the visualization. And we started doing visualization programs. And we would just have, like, one day we went to I'll tell you how we got 50,000 people. Okay. We went to the middle of the city in Kuala Lumpur, which is a huge forum, but it's outdoors with a huge stage. And he said, okay, I said, I'm going to turn Motivation for the Nation into Bahasa Malaysian language. I'm going to get all the biggest Malaysian pop stars to sing it with me. And it's going to be called Motivasi Untuk Bangsa. And Bob loved that idea. He said, well, let's go and visualize 10,000 people singing along to it, with a huge amount of people up on stage singing this song. And a year later, 50,000 people. And I had 30
Goodness
people up
sakes.
on stage, Malaysian dancers and everything, doing Motivasi Untuk Bangsa.
Wow.
Because we would visualize things together. And I said, well, you said 10,000 people, but then you always say double it. So there's no limitations. I said, so let's make it 40,000 people. He went, I love it. We can fit 40,000 people here. Because it was a free concert. Anyway, so I did the concert. Then I went on to the TV show the next night for New Year's Eve, Salamat something in Malaysia. And they were talking about it and showing clips of it. So it was amazing working with him. I just absolutely loved it. The only reason I stopped working with Bob was because I wanted to find an enlightened teacher, and he said, you're looking for enlightenment. That's when I went off the grid and just started looking for an enlightened teacher and doing my own thing in different ways, studying different methodologies and God and Reiki, you name it. I studied everything. And finally, as you know, I met my enlightened teacher back in 2005. What's in a year? Anyway, that's the beginning of a conversation.
From your experience around all of this that you've seen and you've had, what is the most efficient and fastest kind of subconscious reprogramming that you've seen or experienced? Was it the music?
Well, absolutely the music, because it goes straight into your subconscious mind. You don't have a chance to reject it. The doubting mind cannot reject it, which is why advertising agencies spend billions of dollars a year, because your product is with them forever. It's like, she's having a baby with Hugh Grant. and the father-in-law is always going Toyota, Pizza Hut. you know, you've just got these jingles from when you're a kid, from especially back when we were kids, because of the fact that you had to listen to the advertising on the radio or the television because we didn't have fast forward or videos or anything. Well, you might have, but I didn't. Anyway, so jingles were a huge part, particularly 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and they sort of faded out a little bit, but people still have jingles. But it's also visualization, because of the fact that we really do not, we cannot tell the difference, the subconscious mind, the thoughts and the patterning of the mind, between patterns and pictures and what the real world is. I have a pillow, and I'm going to ask my lovely assistant to get that big pillow of my cat.
There it is. Wow, look at that. Who is that we're looking at?
That's Babies. That's my female Siamese. She's a calico Siamese. That's my
Yeah.
other cat, is a
Oh,
boy.
oh, they're precious. They're beautiful.
So when I first
Wow,
got this as a gift, uh,
that is
I had it
cool.
had it on my sofa, and the little boy cat got up on the sofa to get his back scratched and went, big tail. He thought it was a real cat, even though
Yeah, seriously.
he really did think it was a big, big cat. And it was like, wow, even animals think that pictures, if I've got a movie
Mm,
going or something, they're watching everything. So
wow.
if there's a bird flying by, they'll try to catch it on the TV set. Anyway, so this has been proven now that we think in pictures and patterns, which I love these days, Thomas, that science has actually proven these things. And so when you visualize something and you can actually put yourself into the visual, that's why we did the manifestation video book, and why I'm definitely going to do a video book with you when we're talking about these things, because you're watching an image, all these different images, and then you're listening to the message about teaching the person how to manifest, and then you're listening to the music as well, and your doubting mind does not have a moment to reject it. And you can do your own, go to Canva, make your own video if you want to, with putting yourself, you can Photoshop it, you can use AI to put yourself in, just ask AI to put yourself in the car that you want or the house that you live in, and so you can make your own music video, or just do your own affirmations along with a video of you visualizing what it is you want to attract into your experience. And that isn't egotistical. As long as what you want in your life isn't to please someone, to make them say, oh, isn't he great? He's got a great car or house. But just for your own comfort and safety, and because God through you deserves for you to live in a nice environment and have a safe car. So that's all I've got to say about that, being a box of chocolate.
Why is it that we make success and prosperity and nice things so wrong in our culture?
Ah,
We're
it
so
is
materialistic in America already, and I'm talking, but most cultures, most people, oh, he's rich. Oh, look at the car he did. We just stamp all of that stuff across and make it wrong, and that goes right back into our programming.
Yeah, in Australia, we call it the tall poppy syndrome. They do in the UK as well. In Australia, it's not. In America, it's more oriented towards, it's a good thing to talk about your success and what you've done in your life. And people actually want to go to an author who's saying, look at all the stuff I've got, because they think if they can learn from someone, like, you don't go to a piano teacher who can't play piano, you think, oh, that person knows their stuff, so I'll go to them. And in Australia and in the UK, it's more like you don't talk about your success because it's negative and egotistical, and you don't want to be around people who show off. And we don't want anyone to show off. But I love the way Yogananda, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, talks about it. He said in the East, we started thousands of years ago with all this spirituality, and in the West, all the material and the money. And he said they've got to both come together in balance, because it's important for you to not live in poverty. And God through you didn't create you to live in poverty. You have God through you. So it's important that you have respect for your body, for yourself, and that you dress well, and you don't wear rags, and that you have a good home that you live in that's kept clean and tidy and zen. He didn't say Zen though. That's me. And he said, so if you can combine the both of them, and he taught about that a lot. It's important to have spirit in your life so that you can have the material things without attachment. Because when you're a spiritually driven person, because I hear people so many times, Thomas, say, when I say to them, tell me what you want to experience in your life. Well, I just want to have a lot more money. Yeah, but why? Well, because so that I can give, because I want to be a great philanthropist. And they're even embarrassed. They immediately, when someone immediately comes up with and having to share with you, so I can give to others. I want to have money so I can give to others. That's a spiritually minded person who feels guilty about even wanting money. Why would they feel guilty? It's just an energy. It saves you taking the sheep over your shoulder down to the marketplace. You just have a money exchange instead, much, much easier on your shoulders. So that's why I speak so much about manifestation and being a magnet to money in an irreverent way so that people will stop taking it so seriously. People would rather talk about their sex life, Thomas, than talk about money. It's ridiculous.
That's
It's like,
true. Yeah, that's true,
talk
especially
about your
today.
workout, talk about you work out with money, but not in a negative way, just as a build-up of consciousness. And to be the more successful you are, that means you've stretched yourself. You've done something that you've never done before and you start making money from it. Maybe you didn't even expect to make money from it, like my affirmation songs. Never thought that that would go out to the public and sell millions all over the world. Just insane. Never in my consciousness. However, my subconscious mind had been programmed since I was a little girl to have millions of my songs sold. I'd always had that in my mind as a visualization. So it just happened in a completely different way than I'd visualized.
Wow. Well, which is often the case. Let's talk about the difference, drill down on this a little bit more, between images, the imagery that you were talking about. And you made a great point. Get on Canva or Grok or Gawk or whatever the name of it is on Twitter, or Chat GPT or Midjourney, and tell it, hey, put me in a fill in the blank, Maserati. I mean, and give it a try if that, whatever it is that you want. And like, I really agree with you. Like, not only just for my own edification or my own pride, but I had somebody mention this, one of our listeners. In fact, she lives over here in California. She said, create your manifesting, but make sure that somebody else benefits from it. And I thought, oh, that's really good. And she had at that time a dog that was dealing with some real serious health issues. And she wanted to manifest some things, and then the ultimate beneficiary of the manifestation would be her dog. And I mean, they came in right on a sled, what she was wanting to create. So that's a great technique. But, we often are programmed to say or write affirmations. Now, and you said you put them to music. The words, the affirmation words, I receive $100,000. And what you're saying is that your mind just goes straight to, now, how are you going to do that? You've never made $100,000 in your life. Well, start arguing with yourself, and all of a sudden you conscious mind starts to believe that. So what you're saying is, through the imagery, go on AI and tell it to give you $100,000 and what that looks like in dollar bills. And here you are sitting in a stack of lots of or $100 bills, like that imagery could be very powerful. And also now what you're saying, the overlay is when you sing those words, I'm not going to try to sing. I have $100,000. That your mind doesn't have a chance to argue with you about that.
Yeah, and I feel, well, absolutely, but I feel it's from my experience working with so many different people, what works for them is don't put a dollar amount on it. Because if someone says, oh, I want to be a millionaire, right? Everyone's always saying, just I'm going to, when they send me their prayers that they want, when I help them with different things, I'll always go back to them and I'll say, you've got to be more specific. If you can write down My beautiful life, like we've spoken about before, Thomas, this is much more powerful than putting a dollar amount, because
Mm,
then you're having the
mm,
experience of a beautiful life. And if you're at a stage where, for example, you only make 80,000 a year, because I think that's a very small amount of money to make, and you want to make more than that, and you're saying $1 million, and you're not in a vibration or a frequency for being a millionaire, which is easy to get into if you want to. But anyway, that's another story maybe. But you can, if you write down you've got a beautiful life and really be specific. What does if you really, really, really have a beautiful life? Well, I'm filled with love. I've got the most amazing friends that come from such a great place of integrity, and I love them and authenticity. And I live in a beautiful home, because what I would visualize, this home that I now live in the mountains, I said, I didn't say what country it was in, what area of the world. I just said, where I live is calm, serene, completely safe, nature everywhere. Very rarely even hear a car go by. And it's a beautiful yellow and white house. And I just love living there. I've got a huge backyard and I just feel like Cinderella. I did that for years. And this house wasn't yellow and white, but I painted it. And I've got like 1.4 acres, and I have not seen one car go by today yet. Not one. It calm, serene, perfectly safe. Deer, turkeys,
wow. That sounds
rabbits.
beautiful.
You're washing up and there's a deer there, or just a deer in the middle of the road, because there's a dirt road. There's no lights, no street lights. It's just, it's serene. It's beautiful. But, you don't put a timeline on it, because when I first started realizing that's what I wanted, I was doing meditation practice with my teacher, and I wanted to live in a very quiet area so I could continue without traffic hearing, because where I lived at the time, full on traffic. I wanted somewhere where I could meditate in silence, because at one stage I wanted so much to be in silence. People were living upstairs from me with two big boys, huge boys, and they would make so much noise just moving around. So on Saturday afternoons, I would give her money, $100, to take her kids to the pictures, to the movies, so that I would know I've got from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock to have silence without them above me.
Oh, wow. Goodness. Yeah. That's
So that's why I
oof.
wanted this so much. And so when you write down a beautiful life, I love to work out my body every day. I've never been so healthy and vital and fit. I love eating. I love eating organic fruits and vegetables. And, you just write down what a beautiful life, and then everything that is required for that beautiful life to come to fruition just happens, because the divine is omnipotent power, and you're working with your diamond, and it will be brought into your life. And if you have people in your life you don't want to hang out with anymore, and you find it hard to drop relationships, as your frequency goes up, they will leave. They will just leave. You will leave. It just happens organically when you're in that vibration, without ever having to be nasty. It just, because you're on a different frequency to those people, you won't be living in the same world again. You'll have your own world. So the Magnet to Money song that Reverend Ike used to say, this great preacher, you're a magnet to money. Money loves to be around you and circulate. Everybody say right now, I am a money magnet. So when I heard that many, many years ago in Sydney, I immediately went home and wrote, I'm a magnet to money, the money song. And now I'm more than I need. I'm a magnet to money. Money loves me, etc., etc. Anyway, not quite tuned up today, but
That's on Spotify too, isn't it? I think.
oh, it's everywhere, that song.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I wrote it
Yeah.
years ago. I wrote to Reverend Ike, finally found out he lived in New York. I was in Sydney. I've just written this song. I'm dedicating it to you, but I just want to make sure if it's okay if I release it. Do you want royalties for it or whatever? And he said, no, I believe in tithing to me all the time because I'm the money magnet. He said, I don't believe in color. I believe in green. He said, I'm not a black man. I'm a green man. Anyway, so I loved the fact that I'd never, coming from tall poppy syndrome in Sydney, I'd never heard anyone so irreverent and so ostentatious almost about money, being you're a money magnet. And it made me laugh so much. I thought, what a great affirmation song for people to get out of their heads that money is this thing that's really hard to get to. Ooh, what's the secret? So that's why I love that song, because it's irreverent, because I've got tons of deeply spiritual affirmation songs, but that one is the most popular.
All right, let's wrap this up by doing what I thought we wouldn't be doing yet in this in this new path that we're taking. I want you to teach me to sing just a couple of lines of Magnet to Money. Now, I can't do all that vocal like what you do.
Runs.
But just get me off the ground, get me off the stump with it, because I'll bet there are some other people that are not doing the singing because of the same reason. So
and
we're
you
going to break
don't
through
have to actually sing for the affirmation songs to work, but it does make it a little faster for it to go into your subconscious mind.
Sure.
So just get the key. Can you do I? Okay, you got the key. I am a magnet to money.
I am a magnet to money.
I now have more than I need.
I'm what?
I now have more than I need.
Oh, I now have. Give me that again. I now have more than I need.
I am a magnet to money.
I am a magnet to money.
Money loves me.
Money loves me.
Loves me, Thomas.
Loves me, Thomas.
Yay! Well done.
All right. Now, if I can do it, you can do it, folks. Come on now. Let's get going on this. This is why we're kicking this in, because we're going to be following this all year long is what we're going to be talking about. So I am a magnet to money.
I now have more than I need.
All right, good. Let's go out bebopping. Lead us out of here. Keep going.
I am a magnet to money. I now have more than I need. I am a magnet to money. Money loves me. I am a magnet to money. I now have more than I need. I am a magnet to money.